Well, let's continue with the demonetization theme. The online payment portals have gained momentum owing to the cash crunch. To tell us more, joining us on the show is the founder and chairman of Oxigen, Pramod Saxena. Good morning, Mr. Saxena. Good to have you on the show. Let's start off with the kind of surge in transactions that you're seeing purely by ever since the 8th of November. And a lot of it would not be sustainable once this problem of the cash crunch eases out. But in terms of retention of certain customers that you are acquiring in this heat of the moment, do you see sustainability in terms of accretion of customers?
Yeah, well, customers are obviously now more keen to do digital transactions using mobile wallets. And the surge that we have seen all around is very natural because there is a problem of availability of cash with customers. Now, I see it as an opportunity for the country to leapfrog from cash paying economy into a digital economy. Clearly, India, where plastic is in use in a very minimal comparison to anywhere else in the world, mobile wallets being pretty much ubiquitous, I think this is a great opportunity to transition customers from using cash to mobile wallet. And the current surge may not continue at the same rate. At the same time, this is something which will be sustainable over a long period of time.
What about competitive intensity? We've got quite a few big e-wallet players, without taking any names, and they're also spending a lot in terms of accretion of new customers, accretion of new merchants, and they're going on war footing, getting a lot of funding, spending it out, newspaper advertisements. What are you doing to cope with that competitive intensity? And what's the kind of market share, if at all there are certain rough numbers that you can share? The increment in that you see from here on?
Yeah, well, the competitive intensity is there, and I think it has been there for the last couple of years. Good thing that this current trend has established is that the education that the customers needed over a period of time through advertising and a lot of spend, as you just mentioned, in customer acquisition, is now giving way to the need that has arisen, and the demand is now being pushed from the customer and from the merchant community. So I see the trend that is going to be now that the customer will demand use of mobile wallets, and several enablers have now fallen in place. The government is also taking some steps to ease out, like increasing the limit of deposit in the minimum KYC wallet. Those are all things that will really push the market, and the merchants are also very keen. I mean, I can give you an example. Earlier, when you would go to a merchant, you will need to explain and discuss a lot of details in terms of return and costs and stuff like that. But today, merchants are just willing to create an acceptance for mobile wallets. So that's really the change. So instead of a push marketing, it is now becoming a pull that's coming from the consumer community.
Right. So what are the kind of incentives that you offer?
And you asked for.
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. So you talked about market shares. I think very difficult to give a market share at this point of time. Earlier, as you know, the focus has been in customer acquisitions. Acquiring a customer on a mobile wallet can be a very simple process. But what really is important is whether or not the customers are transacting. So now the need has come, and therefore we will see a rise in the transaction, and that is where one has to see how one is doing. And the market being very large, in my view, I think competition is absolute must for giving the best service to the customers and best service to the community in general.
Speak to us also about your federal bank tie-up. Is that helping you tap more points of sale and expand your reach?
Yeah, well, federal bank tie-up is one of the tie-ups that we've got with banks to deposit money in an e-cash account that gives a faster credit to the merchants. Now, we are perhaps outside of the bank the only company that deploys point of sales as micro ATMs. And we have enabled these micro ATMs to accept cash as a bank's BC. So people are at our locations depositing old currency in 500 and 1000, and they are transferring it into the bank account. From there it can move to their wallet and to the merchant, and in a cashless transaction. So we are enabling even old currency to be monetized into the wallet and payment online, and that's really something which we are seeing is being appreciated and lapped up by the market.
Right. Can you also share with us some data, if you have, in terms of not only transactions from client to merchant have increased, but also the necessity of transferring money from person to person accounts, merely that, on back of the crunch in ATMs that we are seeing? Cash has become really a near-term necessity, and if the person-to-account transfers are solving that, companies like you become real big beneficiaries. So the person-to-person accounts and not only transactions, mere transfers, that category is also seen a big spike up, and does that help you monetarily as well?
Well, it does. I think we will see a rise in person-to-person transactions as well, because not everybody will be able to deposit cash and top up their wallets in this time, and those who are able to, they can move money into the wallets of other persons, and who can then in turn use it in the market. So that clearly is a use case. The other one that I like to mention is we have enabled a virtual Visa on our mobile wallet, and people who are paying in cash can get an access to Visa and do online transactions as well. So person-to-person transactions are definitely going to go. And the other thing which has happened is TRAI has permitted use of USSD, in the same way as it was being permitted to banks like *99#, which will enable the feature phones now to be able to do transactions from wallet. I mean, that's a very big change that will come, according to me, because even though there are 250 million odd smartphones, there are only 70 to 80 million smartphones that really use data, and allowing feature phones through USSD to do these transactions will really give it a big push once again.
All right, wishing you luck for the same, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Saxena, for joining us and breaking down the nature of the business to us and explaining to us how the outlook looks like going ahead from here on. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Trending Today. Thank you so much for watching.